How's everybody doing, guys? It is November 15th, 2017. We just got done with the second game of the State Farm Champions Classic, where Kansas edged Kentucky. Final score was 65 to 61 as the number 4 Jayhawks hold off the Wildcats. What I want to talk about is the opening game of that State Farm's Champion Classic, and one hell of an opening game considering Kansas and Kentucky is the following act, and I can't imagine that's happened too many times. But the Duke Blue Devils, number 1 in the nation, taking out number 2 in the nation, Michigan State Spartans. Duke Blue Devils walked out with an 88-81 win over the Spartans. And all I can help but think is, now that the NCAA basketball season is underway, when I watched that game today, I thought about Grayson Allen, thought about a lot of that stuff that happened with him last year, and times prior before that when Coach Mike Krzyzewski had to suspend the guy for inherently tripping people and doing a lot of the just off-kilter and crazy, stupid things for the Blue Devils. Even though the kid is incredibly talented, one can't help but think, such as myself, thinking that this guy could turn into be a Christian Laettner or a J.J. Redick, even though I really didn't hate J.J. Redick. I know a lot of people don't like Duke, but Christian Laettner, I can understand that in terms of that type of feel against having it on Grayson Allen. But you know what? Dude came out tonight, the senior, with 4 other freshmen in that starting 5. Career high 37 points for Grayson Allen. Got to give it up to him, despite if he's playing the victim or the villain or however you want to see it tonight. He came out and dominated. And it wasn't as though, I know I'm a guy just from Michigan here, I don't really root for Michigan or Michigan State or any of that stuff. As I said, Oakland University from Rochester Hills, Michigan is my alma mater. But when I look at this game tonight and I see the Michigan State Spartans and I see them ranked number 2, you kind of think in terms of the last few years that, Michigan State, you wonder if they're going to have a top 5 team. They always have some guys that are always talented, but you got a lot of one and dones. And maybe Tom Izzo, in his heyday when everything was going good, when they had the national championship with Mateen Cleaves and all of that, that you have a lot better success if you're Izzo if you have guys that stay all 4 years. And you wonder not whether Tom Izzo is finally going to be past his coaching expectations, that you can't really expect him to get more than 2. But if he got 2 titles, if he can get a second title, he would get everything validated for all the right reasons. But yet it seems like he does better when you got all those 4-year recruits, but yet that's not really the cycle that usually comes about. But what I'm talking about is Miles Bridges, the second year, the sophomore, the one that decided to come back that could have been a top 5 pick. What I saw from Miles Bridges tonight, yeah, he was 5 of 10 from 3-point range, 19 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and 4 blocks. Some athletic blocks coming back in, a la LeBron James rejecting people from the rim. Nice to see the athleticism there, but for Miles Bridges tonight, I like the 19 points and the 5 or 10 from deep, but I still think he could have shot more shots. He's a little bit too passive for my taste as far as what Michigan State would need in terms of having that big-time score and the big-time recruit coming back. Michigan State, 4-20 against all-time number 1 teams in NCAA basketball. And it really didn't look good tonight in terms of, that scoreline looked a lot closer than it was, 88-81 for Duke. But Michigan State got absolutely manhandled on the glass. Rebounding edge 46-34, but the offensive glass discrepancy 25-11 in favor of Duke. And Duke was running a 2-3 zone with the 4 freshmen and Grayson Allen for the entire contest. And yet for them to be able to run a zone that supposedly allows you to be susceptible to the offensive rebounds really didn't seem that way. Really seemed like Michigan State got out-competed in terms of that. On the aspect of block shots, Michigan State was up to the task. But a lot of those blocks, if it's not getting insecure to the hands of other guys to grab the rebounds, that's what allowed Duke to just maintain running that zone, albeit it was aggressive at times. It wasn't just a passive zone. They were able to get some steals and cause Michigan State to turn the ball over 17 times in this game. But still, Michigan State could have done a better job in affecting that zone, trying to get more shots, or maybe it was just Duke's defense was that good. I know it was just the second game for the Spartans, or maybe it was just they weren't ready to handle that 2-3 zone, or maybe they don't really have the guys that can shoot from outside as much, despite for let me see in here. For the Spartans, you have, let's see, not Cassius Winston. Cassius Winston, the EFD Jesuit, didn't have a great night. But Jaren Jackson for the Michigan State Spartans was able to hit a few threes. But that was about it. For another injury aspect of it, Marvin Bigley III, 4 points, 6 rebounds. He did have 5 offensive rebounds in the 6, but he exited early in the first half with an apparent eye injury. He was on the bench. He didn't return. So if you guys saw that game, Facebook.com/TVGunslinger, Twitter @JohnWhyNot. As always, let me know what you think. I want to talk about a couple other things. We get this quick recap before I get out of here. As the NCAA season started, Michigan had a victory over Central Michigan. They looked okay in doing that. Muhammad Ali Abdul-Rahman is going to have to try to continue to force the lead for the Wolverines in terms of seeing what they're going to do, as they're not ranked yet. But I don't think that's as talented of a squad coming back as losing a couple of those pieces to the Milwaukee Bucks from last year, and it's going to be a little bit of a different team. In terms of my alma mater, they're 2-0, defeating Fort Wayne and defeating New Orleans. Oakland Golden Grizzlies defeated Fort Wayne 85-71 on November 10th, and 87-68 defeating New Orleans on November 13th, just this Monday. What I've liked from Oakland so far is the play of none, especially getting like 25-30 points within the last couple of games and absolutely being able to put the ball in the hole. Former standout Oakland Golden Grizzly Travis Bader was also there, as Drew Valentine had moved on from the assistant coaching staff with Greg Campy to go ahead and take another job in Chicago, so he's no longer there. But Oakland continues to be one of those standout mid-majors. But in my instance, when I went to Oakland for the 2 years, they had made the tournament and lost to Pittsburgh and Texas, respectively. Remember when DeJuan Blair was good for a few minutes, as Tristan Thompson is continuing to have a pretty good career, especially with the Cleveland Cavaliers. But Oakland's going to have to find a way, as they're in this Horizon League now that Valparaiso's not there anymore, to continue to try to get into the tournament, because the last couple of seasons prior, within 16-15 campaigns, not been able to go ahead and get into the tournament because they're not going ahead and winning their Horizon League, because that's who wins the league gets the automatic bid. Only a mid-major school like Oakland is not going to be able to do things like run the table. They wouldn't be able to do that, but if they did things like running the table, that wouldn't give them an automatic bid. The next college basketball aspect and thing I'm going to be covering, and I have this article on BBallAddicts.com for Duke and Michigan State. So I want to kick it off here and talk about Oakland for a second. Is after the Jayhawks just took out Kentucky in that State Farm's Champion Classic. I know it's not going to be a big deal for the Jayhawks, but it's going to be a big deal for me watching my alma mater take on the Kansas Jayhawks on November 24th at 8 p.m. So I imagine that's going to be on the ESPN3 stream of networks, if not on ESPNU. I'm going to be checking that out. I'm fully expecting the Golden Grizzlies to probably lose by 25-30 points. But I want to kind of check that game out, write about it, and then give you guys a brief recap. And so my understanding, like I had already previously mentioned, getting a couple times actually getting in the tournament, losing to Pittsburgh and Texas. But the few times that Oakland actually plays a few of these top-tier teams, and they turn out showing pretty good. Though I'm not expecting them to go ahead and beat Kansas. It's going to be an interesting game on November 24th. So that's going to be less than 10 days away on a Friday night at 8 p.m. I'm going to be writing about that and talking about that as well. So look forward to that, Golden Grizzlies fans and NCAA fans, as we get set to take on the Kansas Jayhawks. So what do you think of the Michigan State Duke game tonight? Facebook.com/TrueGunslinger, Twitter @JohnRyanOtt. As always, leave comments. I will leave the article and the links below as far as the history of Grayson Allen as well for Duke as we go along, and this gets posted up on YouTube and you see the article, Facebook, Twitter, and all that stuff. So appreciate it. This is John Ott signing off for Sports in the D, BBallAddicts.com. Talk to you guys soon. Have a good one, everybody.